Hello, my name is Kendall. Welcome back to another video. And if you're new here, hello, my name is Kendall. Today, I will be talking about the disturbing looking creature called Dogman. He was initially seen in 1887 in Michigan. I'll be showing some photos, but try your best to visualize what he looks like based off of this description. He's extremely tall, standing at 7 feet tall. He's a canine humanoid hybrid, and he has the head of a dog with the torso of a human, and then again, the legs of a dog. His eyes are usually described as being a bright blue or an amber color. And finally, one of the most disturbing things about this Dogman is his barks. When he barks, it sounds like a terrified, tortured human. Now let's get into some of the sightings that people have had with this Dogman. In 1937, Robert Fortney was assaulted by multiple dogs, and he claims that within the assault, one of those dogs walked on 2 legs like a human. And this is not all, because in the 1950s and the 1970s, there were multiple official reports being made about people seeing this legend. And these are just a few of the examples. There have truly been quite a lot of examples of people who have seen Dogman and have reported on it, have called in, have talked about it. It's probably one of the legends where I have seen the most people experience seeing this thing. And personally, I don't think that it's necessarily all that far-fetched to believe that something like this could actually exist out there, because I don't exactly recall when it was. I think it was some point in the 1900s. There was an experiment that took place where the scientists attached a smaller dog's head to a bigger dog, so it was supposed to be a double-headed dog. It actually survived for a couple days before passing away, but the fact that experiments like that have been done and those things are publicized, I wonder what type of experiments have been done that haven't been publicized. And maybe some things are actually science experiments gone wrong that are covered up by saying that it's a legend because the scientists could not get whatever creature it was back and away from the public. That is my personal thoughts on what this could be, what could be going on with this legend. But now that you know that, let's get into the story. It was late spring in Augusta, Michigan. The chill had left the air, and hikers and campers were already beginning to enjoy the change of the season. Sadie was staring out the window of her English 2 classroom, thinking about her plans for her last summer before going to college. She was also planning on how to break up with her high school boyfriend, Derek. They would be going their separate ways soon, and besides, he had become more ill-tempered over the last year. There was an end-of-the-year bonfire party planned out by the lake near the Fort Custard Recreational Center. Everyone would be there. She would talk to Derek after the party if she could even get him to go. She did manage to convince him, but not without a fight. And on the way there, the argument continued. The whole evening was miserable. Derek was rude and hateful to everyone. Sadie finally demanded that he take her home. They left the same way they came, but somewhere along the route, they took a wrong turn. Still in the midst of a heated argument, neither of them noticed their mistake until the car rammed into something large and dark, standing in the road. Derek slammed on the brakes. "What the hell was that?" Sadie asked. "I don't know," he barked back. "Maybe a dog or something. Let me go look and see if I messed up my car." Sadie followed him out of the car and replied snidely, "Maybe you should make sure it isn't injured as well." They walked around to the back of the car. "Oh gosh," Sadie heard him say, before she saw what he was looking at. She leaned around him to see what it was. They watched in disbelief and shock as a dog-like creature rose on all 4s. It was probably a foot taller than either of them. Sadie was about to speak, but Derek shushed her. That's when she noticed the look on his face. It was such an obvious look of terror that it was instantly contagious. Simultaneously, they bolted back to the car, jumped in, and slammed the door shut. "Sadie, where's your cell phone? Call for help," Derek begged. She began digging through her pocket, and her hands came out empty. I must have dropped it on the ground," she said, "when I jumped into the car." She covered her ears, trying to block out the sound of snarling. "Where's yours?" "I left mine at home." Derek began to yell. "You idiot, you can't ever do anything right." The car was shaking. Derek was yelling, and Sadie was crying. Sadie tried to burrow down into the small floorboard space to put as much distance between her and this beast as possible. She waited for the window to shatter, but to her relief, it didn't. Derek had been watching in horror until the moment when fear overcame him. He panicked and jumped from the driver's side of the car, taking off. Wow, he really left her like that. Taking off to run through the woods, leaving Sadie abandoned and alone. The dog man, as that was most likely what it was, seized this moment by leaping on top of the car, causing a loud thud, and then jumping off. It headed into the woods in pursuit of Derek, its prey. Sadie, still huddled up in a ball on the floorboard, began to sob. Her eyes were closed at first. She was too scared to open them. But as she heard the growls growing more distant, she finally did. She had to make a decision. Should she try to run or close the doors and remain safely inside the locked car? But was she really safe inside the car? Too scared to run, Sadie quickly leaned over, grabbing the door handle and slamming the door shut. A few minutes later, while still hiding in the floor of the car, she nearly jumped out of her skin when something landed on the roof of the car with a loud thud. She tried to burrow herself deeper into the floorboards as she quietly listened. Sadie was staring up at the driver's side window when something fell from the roof of the car and dangled there. For a moment, she hoped she was seeing things. It looked like an arm. She didn't dare crawl out of her hiding space to get a better look. She just stared at it until it started to move. The fingers began to open and close. But just as they did, another loud thud sounded on the roof of the car, followed by screams of agony and terror. The screams weren't the only noise she heard either. They were accompanied by the sounds of snarling and ripping flesh. Blood began to trickle down the glass of the window. Shortly after, the night went silent again, but only for a moment. Sadie jumped when she heard the creature climbing off the car. She covered her mouth and nose with her hands, afraid that it would hear her breathing. She heard it circle the car, sniffing at every inch as it passed. When it reached her side of the car, it stopped. A low, rumbling growl began just on the other side of the door, closest to where her head lay. She began to cry, no longer needing to hide it. It knew she was there. The sound of her crying caused the beast to begin clawing at the door. It sounded like it was trying to dig its way through. She knew it was just a matter of time before it tore its way into the car, and she would soon share Derek's fate. I really hope that she escaped. That was a really interesting story. Now, I'm not sure if that's based off a true story, but at the end of the day, it's still really good. And thanks for the person that wrote this book for putting together that story. It is really amazing. But that concludes today's video. I really hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider subscribing and sharing with a friend if you think that they will enjoy this video. Take care of yourself, drink enough water, take your vitamins, make sure you're eating right, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!